Hello guys, welcome to a new deck profile. Today I'm going to show you the Beetrooper deck that I used at WCQ Liège, where I ended 7-1 in rounds and 5th place overall. So let's get right into it. So first of all, notice the new format. I want to try something new, so where you can see the cards better, and I hope it looks better for you. So first we're going to see the main deck, and those are the most generic insect monsters. So we play triple Resonance Insects, triple Retaliating Sea, double Gokipo, and one Doomdozer. So those 6 cards, Retaliating Sea and Resonance Insect, were the most broken cards of the deck. All of their effects are null once per turn, and Retaliating Sea right now is super good against Despia, and this is one of the reasons why I chose to play this deck over something else. It's just that this card is so easily abusable. The search effect is not once per turn, the summon effect is not once per turn, so if they bounce it, like for example, if you play against Brave, this is going to have a lot of value because it forces them to bounce it with Draco back. They don't get the free search because they can't discard Draco back, and also it just comes back next turn, so if they play Prankids, you still have the threat of having you dropping this on Pandemonium and they don't get the float effects on Prankids, so they have to keep like the negate just for that. So this paired with any other hand trap is super good, and also it's a good normal summon. And same with Resonance Insect, like this is the best normal summon of the deck. It is like both effects are done once per turn, so if you draw multiples it's not even bad. Yeah, those were the best cards for sure. No, for Archetype cards we have Battle Wasp, so we play triple Sting, triple Pin for Extender, and one Arbalest. Sting also overperformed a lot. Like the search, of course, is really good because it sets up the combo, but the negates, like leaving Sting on field is so important, or special summoning it back so you can search like follow up for next turn, and having a negate is so good. Also, summoning with Dasher is absolutely insane because when you start your turn with a free search and also free negates, this is easily one of the best cards in the deck. Also, there's so many best cards. This deck's insane. And for the Beetrooper cards, we have triple Bomber, best Extender, it chain blocks also, double Sting. Sting is super good against Despia. The game plan against Despia is basically you search this, and then you're holding it until they use Brandon in red, so you're trying to pop everything on field, and at one point they have to use it or else it's gonna get popped. If they do, you summon this and it doesn't resolve because they don't have the target anymore. We also play one Assault Roller, it's your level 4 extender, and I choose to play the one Neptune. I think if there's one card I'm not so sure about in the deck, it's this one. It still was pretty good. I thought it was going to be better than that, like as a thing that sticks on field, but it never sticks. Usually you kill the same turn you summon it, or you link it away, or it just breaks in your hand, so it was a weird card. It's really good in like grindier matchups, but most of the time you side it out for something else, so I'm not recommending playing this card. And also for Beetrooper cards, we have 2 of the extender spell. I really want to play other Beetrooper spell, like maybe the field spell, but I don't think it was good enough to warrant playing them. But sometimes I wish I had like different targets for this, so hopefully we get new supports for the deck, but right now this is totally fine. And we play the other package that's like absolutely crazy in this deck. It's DPE. I know sometimes it's a little lame playing turbo DPE, but in this deck it's so good with insects. I don't know why. It's so hard to explain why insects are good, but they have so much resilience and they play DP so well. Like everything you summon out of Dasher is crazy. The draw to is amazing, like as in every deck of course, but I don't know, it plays so well through interruptions, and Retaliating Sea and other cards are so good against the meta. So and yeah, and DP in this deck it's almost your plan A, but most of the time just your plan B. Your plan A is going to make Papillon, and that's your plan A. And for other cards, I played one Call by the Grave, triple attack. This card overperformed as well. It's so good right now, and also it's especially good in Insect because you can steal a monster, use it as league material. So as well as dealing with the monster you're stealing, it fuels up like your links. It's also something really easy to OTK with if they leave monster in attack or even in defense, because you can just steal it and switch it to defense and OTK with him. Like this card is absolutely mandatory, I feel like, in Insect also. And for hand traps, I played triple Ash, triple Bell, triple Imperm. In hindsight, I don't think Bell was the best call. I expected a lot of Despia. It wasn't like peak popularity Despia, so I didn't see it that much, but like the card was still very good. And for Despia, I think Crow is better than Bell, but like Bell was still pretty good for sure. But if I were to play the deck again right now, with Despia as popular as it is, I would play 3 Crow instead of this. And that was the main deck. This is 42 cards. For the extra deck, played 1 Pico, double Armorhorn, double Papillon, and 1 Atlas. Everything here was absolutely necessary. I thought this was like kind of a tech that I was not going to go into a lot, but you go into this fairly often, often enough so you have to actually play it. Second Pico was, at first I thought second Pico was going to be needed in slower matchups, but you can just cycle it with other insect cards, so it's usually fine. Second Armorhorn comes up a lot if you have to use options and playthrough interruptions, and double Papillon comes up almost every game. The effect being mandatory is kind of annoying, but you make it a lot. Even sometimes twice a turn, just to go through your plays, like through your insect plays. It's really important that you play at least 2. And for generic links, we play 1 Almir. You have to play it because it puts your 1000 attack monsters in grave. 1 Link Spider to turn normal monsters into effect monsters. 1 Verte. So I played 2 Verte actually for the tournaments. One borrowed the second one to me. I only have 1. In theory, it was to play around Nibiru. If you get Nibiru, you have enough extenders to go into second Verte turn 1 and go into DPE. But it actually never came up. I never needed a second one. Also, it could come up that you make one, it gets negated, and next turn you make another one to go into DP because you have 2 Fusion Destiny. But it never came up. It actually came up once that Verte stayed on field, and I just used it again. But the second one never came. In theory, if there's more Nibirus in this match, like in the format, it could come up, but it never did. In a format where Nibiru is here more often, I guess like second one comes up. But what I cut to play second Verte was Crystal Hockey Fibrax. It doesn't do that much for the deck except Link Climb, but it's still like something that could come up sometimes. So I think playing Hockey Fibrax would have been better. For the rest, we play 1 Wind, same reasoning as Hockey Fibrax. This is just Link Climbing stuff, and I guess if you play Sword Soul, you can steal Baron, which is kind of cool, but never came out for me. I played Sword Soul, but the play never came up. It's just Link Climbing stuff, so it could be something else, but this was pretty good. Unicorn to deal with, like, kill the board. Access Code, which is absolutely mandatory in this deck. It's your best OTK tool. Doomdozer and Access Code is just OTK. It's so easy to set up. Apple was strange because I never see it in insect builds, but it was strangely good for me. You almost never make it turn 1, except if your hand is full of extenders, but you almost never make it turn 1. You make it turn 3 when you go back, like, it's back to your turn. You usually make it with 1 Papillon and 1 other monster that you summon off Papillon, just so you have a monster negates on field to deal with the rest of the board or hand traps, and then with the rest of your hand you just make the combo to OTK with Access Code or enough big insects to kill them. I think Apple is, I don't want to say mandatory, but almost mandatory in this deck. I would probably not cut it. If were cards I were to play something different, I would probably cut Win and Alki Fibrax or like second Verte in that instance, but Apple was really amazing. And of course we played the 1 DP, probably the MVP in the deck. And for the side deck, I chose to play, this was last minute call, but I played triple Joel instead of triple Nibiru. It did not perform that well for me, but the card was okay. I think any other hand trap would have been just as good. Maybe Nibiru would have been better, but I thought I wasn't going to see that much Brave, which I did, but yeah, Nibiru would have been better probably, so learn from my mistakes. Cards that were absolutely amazing. in the side. One Gedarla that you can search, and one Killer Needle. So Killer Needle, I don't want it to play in the main deck because by itself it doesn't do much. Of course, it's a normal monster, but with Gokipo, you usually search a level 4 that you can special summon from hands, or if you have the normal summon that you haven't used, second normal summon, you can search Arbalest to go further into your combos. But this was mostly for going second, where you Gokipo, instead of just searching level 4, it specials one and also deal with something on board. And also it's a wind. So basically, if you play against Thunderies, it's also like a good thing you can side in. It's almost main worthy because going first, you can set up a Gokipo with Papillon, pop it with DPE, pop a monster or anything, and then pop a monster with this because you summon with Gokipo. But it doesn't feel like it was needed. Also, Gokipo can search Retaliating Sea, so it's also another kind of interruption. It's only really good going second. It's a really fun card, so I advise you, if you want to try this deck, that you play it at least in the side. But like, this is very cool interactions that you can do with this card. Also, one super good card that was in a side deck, it was Mind Control. I did not see it often, of course a one-off, but every time I see it, it was super good. It's basically a 4th copy of TTT in the deck, and against Despia, it's the same reasoning. You just take a monster, you deal with it without like sending it for card effect to grave, so it doesn't trigger. And it's also like, you can't use it for OTK because you can't attack with it, but you can still use it for link materials and stuff, so it's really good. For the back row removal part of the side deck, which was kind of important because I played against Flu and Eldritch in this tournament, I played double Twin Twister, I played one Duster, one Reboot, and instead of playing the 3rd Twister, I tried something else. I played, like, this was my first tournament using Night Beam. And oh my god, I'm so peeled on Night Beam. This card is absolutely amazing against Despia. Right now it's at 3 in almost all of my side decks. If you haven't tried it, it's the best in my opinion. No one plays it. I strongly believe that this card is one of the best cards against Despia, because every time they combo, they do the same combo where they end on Mirror Jade with no effects because they used it on Albert previous turn, and a set Brendan Red. If you use this on Brendan Red, either they have another chainable and they have to lose pretty much all of their like interactions, or they have nothing. Most of the time they have nothing. You just use this and their board is absolutely meaningless. They have no interactions for the rest of the turn. Night Beam, I think, is amazing. You should try it. And for the last 3 cards, I played Triple D Barrier. I expected more Despia. It still came up in some matchups against Sorcel, I think it came up. And also I played, I think, 2 Despia, I'm not sure. 1 for sure, but I can't remember. I think I played 2 Despia. I didn't draw it, but in theory the card is absolutely amazing, so play it. And that's it for the side deck, and also a little shout out to Haku being the cutest ninja in Naruto for sure. But that was it. Deck was really fun to play. I advise you try at least, because it's hard to say why the deck was so good, but it actually was. It dealt with Despia exceptionally well. With Brave also, it has a pretty good matchup, and it's really resilient. It has very interesting interactions that no other decks have, in the form of Sting Lancer being a DD Crow, but also a search, like it puts a body on field, and Retaliating Sea is the biggest part of why this deck is so fun to play and also really good. So I advise you to try it. It's a very fun deck. It gave me another top, so it's really cool. But yeah, thank you for watching, and see you for the next one.